welcome to Fight Night with me, Gareth Davis, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. We have a huge 3 hours of boxing coming up for you tonight. We're joined in the studio by heavyweight Jeamie TKV. The legend that is Sugar Shane Mosley is on the show with us. Derek Chisora joins us shortly. And I'll be speaking, or I have been speaking, to Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford ahead of their huge fight in Las Vegas on September the 13th. Big fight for you tonight, big shows, lots of fist bumps. It's Fight Night, I thought. Well, Derek Chisora will join us shortly, Spencer. Great to see you as always. But wow, have we been on the road. You've been in Ghana. We're off to Turkey next weekend as well for the IBA conference, and also a big fight night. It's non-stop, isn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, you've been everywhere as well, haven't you? You've been in the Philippines, and you've been Bangkok, and you've been all over the place. Saudi Arabia. I mean, we'll get into that as well. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I've been over in Ghana. I was there last week. Met up with the legendary Azuma Nelson. 31 years before, after returning there, the first time I went there, the beginning of my career, and we've gone back there. A lot of closure for me there. It was, it was one of those, it was one of those very emotional trips for me. But what a success it was! What a show that they put on out there as well. Anthony Joshua also out there. Is this the start of something new? A new region, Africa coming into the fight world. It would be great to see because
it's great to see Africa involved, and Ghana is the place for me, the nicest place in the world to go. Smiling faces, it looked amazing, and I've been hot-footing it myself, as I say, doing an event, Crypto Fight Night in Manila, stopping in Bangkok on the way back briefly, about to come home, and then getting the call to go to Riyadh. Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez on top form. We'll get into that as the show progresses, but boxing doesn't stop, does it? It never sleeps, and a man I don't think ever sleeps in terms of bringing himself into the fore and into the media is the one and only War Chisora, Derek Chisora, who I believe is on the phone right now. Good evening, Derek. How are you?
What's happening? How are you guys?
Hell boy, how are you, mate?
I'm alright, man. It is too hot in London. I didn't know London can go hot like this, fellas.
Well, listen, I've just got back from Ghana, mate, and it was actually hotter here than it was over there, which is insane.
And it was the same for me. I was in Southeast Asia, and it felt hotter coming back in the UK today. Riyadh's boiling at the moment. So come on. There's a big fight boiling for you right now. Talk about the heat. You may not be able to break the news tonight, but we hear...
What news are you talking about?
Well, we're hearing that you might be fighting Joseph Parker down the line.
That's people hearing now. I got Fabio calling me out. Everybody's calling me out. I got Dylan White calling me out. So right now, I'm just being a dad at home and being a husband and training. I'm not doing anything else.
Derek, how beautiful is it, though? Like, you turned pro, 18 years ago now. I can't believe that. 2007. You've had an incredible career. 49. You're telling us it's 50. Will it be 50 and 0 and out? We don't know. But what I'm saying is how incredible that people still calling your name out. You're still very much in the mix, and you put yourself in the twilight of your career in the best place that you've been.
You know what? Yeah, everything I do, the first thing I do is pray, God first, before anything else. If I was not born again, I'd have retired a long time ago, I've been born again for 7 years. No alcohol, no drugs, nothing. And so far it's worked out great for me.
Yeah, it really has, mate. Look, like I say to you, there's been times in your career when I've actually texted you, I've called you after the first Joseph Parker fight, then the second Joseph Parker fight, saying, come on, Del, you've been brilliant, mate. What an ambassador for the sport. I'm proud of you, but is it now time to hang up your gloves? Fast forward a few years. 4 of your last 5 fights, you've won. You're in the last 3. You've turned over some big names, and you've put yourself into this position, man. Like, you've surprised me, mate, more than anyone.
It surprised everybody because if I listened to you jokers, I'd have been retired long time ago.
Listen, you'd have been retired years ago, mate.
So I will not listen to you guys. I am on my own ship. I'm the captain of my ship. I'm the captain of my bus. So I will go where my bus needs to go. I will not follow anybody. Everything I do is for me, only for me. I make myself happy first before I make anybody happy.
No, it's the right kind of selfish. Well, look, we were talking when we were planning the show tonight about the fact that if anyone else, people like AJ had just had a victory over Joe Joyce and Otto Valling, people would be saying, this guy should be having a world title fight. Those are your last two fights and your last two victories. And if I go back to the news that's broken, Parker's been given the green light to defend his WBO interim heavyweight title against you in a trilogy clash. We're hearing. I know you can't reveal that tonight, Derek. And
no. Listen, 100%. But I am the IBF mandatory. Basically,
Yeah.
I secured my position. I had Nicole go to New York to get my position right, and then the IBF president said, "You know what, Derek, your position is secure. Do not worry about it." So. Listen, I'll be happy if Usyk comes out or whoever wins, Usyk or Daniel, to drop the WBO and the IBF, and then me and Joseph will tear up each other for it.
Okay, so that's the plan in your mind. That's the strategy, and we will know
That's
that
the
after
plan.
July the 19th.
That's the plan, but you never know what happens with this with the promoters. They might be upset because I come up with that plan, and then they want to, derail it and then trying to make other things happen. But that is the plan.
What a beautiful position you are in now, Derek. And like you say, like this WBO interim title could be on the line for you next in that trilogy against Joseph Parker, a fight that everyone would love to see. But you're also in that position now where you're IBF mandatory and you could sit it out and wait for them titles to fragment and box.
I am waiting for that, But, I had a phone call a couple of weeks ago. They offered me to fight Moses Atuma in Saudi. I said, how much? He said, 2 million. I said, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fight with Moses Atuma and Dillian then?
Listen, I even phoned Dylan. I was like, Dylan, I don't know why you're taking this fight, because this kid is on fire right now. And he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards. He's going forward. He's how old is he? 27?
He's 20.
He's 20, mate.
20.
He's 20.
He's 20?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I tell you right now, yeah, somebody needs to call the police, yeah, and get someone arrested for attempted murder whoever made that fight happen, because that is not the right fight for Dylan right now.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you, mate. Dylan has been in some wars with the likes of yourself, and he's had the Tyson Fury fights. He's been around a long, long time, and timing is everything in boxing. And you do fear for Dillian Whyte in that one because Moses is on fire at the moment.
Moses is on fire, so we're just going to decide who's going to go to prison when Dylan gets battered badly. So we'll have a George Warren or Frank Warren or one of them has to go to jail.
Well, let's hope not. But one of the reasons he is taking it is that Moses is WBO #1 at the moment, so that there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Dillian taking that fight.
Ain't no light at the end of that tunnel.
I agree with you. I think Moses. I don't think Dillian gets beyond 4 or 5 rounds.
You're crazy. Yeah. There's no light at that tunnel. That kid is you mad? No way. Even Lawrence Okoli said Moses is bad.
Do you think he's going to be a world champion by the end of next year, Moses?
Yes, because you know what? He's a good guy. He respects everybody. Oh, he loves training. He's got manners. His manners remind me of him and AJ. They got the same manners, the same charisma. Talk very softly. They're all about the business of boxing.
I've never had a chance to ask you about where you believe Lawrence Okoli will go in the heavyweight division. He's a big guy now. He's put on a lot of weight. He was 270 pounds when he fought in his first fight at heavyweight. How do you see Lawrence progressing in the heavyweight division?
I see Lawrence's next fight after Kevin Lorino should be should be, what's his name, Fabio.
Fabio Wardley, it's a good matchup. It's a thrilling matchup, yeah.
Yeah, that should be the next fight they do, because they both want to be at the top. But you know what? Lawrence was a WBC cruiserweight, and then it was a WBC what's the other weight they made up again?
Bridgerweight, yeah.
Bridgerweight, so he's doing very well for himself. And I think he's gonna do amazing in the heavyweight game at the top.
Derek, I want to ask you a question about our old mate AJ and where he's positioned right now. Deontay Wilder, do you think that's the best fight? I personally do. I think that's where he should go next. What do you think about that?
You know what? Let me just say this for him. He's resting right now.
Yeah.
Forget Deontay Wilder. Forget anybody else. The fight to have is with the Gypsy King. So let them rest. Let them get their minds right. Let the bodies rest. Let them figure out what they want to do. When they're ready, they'll come out and say, you know what? I'm ready now. We're both ready. Let's get it on.
You think that's the fight next for both of them, yeah?
That's the fight for both of them. That's what they want. There's no point of fighting Deontay Wilder or fighting this guy and fighting this guy. But really and truly, everybody wants to see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua.
Great stuff, Derek. It's great to see you. We look forward to the announcement of your fight soon.
Thank you.
Enjoy the fam. Enjoy the sun.
Thank you very much. You guys look tired, boys, and enjoy yourself for 3 hours talking boxing. Good luck, boys.
Cheers, mate. You take care, Derek.
Derek Chisora there, infamous and brilliant, as always. What a character he is. I mean, I do expect that Parker fight to be announced very soon. Interestingly, he was given the option to fight Moses Tauma and said, I'm not doing that in August, thank you very much. And he's not happy that Dillion's taking that fight.
Listen, you speak to any of the heavyweights out there right now, and they all say the same thing. When they're at their certain stage of their career, you go, risk and reward for that. And I know what Dillian White's reward is that WBO ranking, and that's why he's taken that carrot, right? And I understand that, I get it, but when you're looking at it from a business point of view, you go, you lose that fight to Moses Tauma, and your career is done.
It's a dead end road.
And so it's a dead end road. So it's a huge gamble. That is high risk, low reward for Dillian White, but he's got confidence in his own ability. He'll take the fight, but Moses Tauma is the kid on the block.
Well, we have a read into the DAZN fight that's going on right now in Birmingham. Torrid affair so far for Galal Yafai. He's under massive pressure from Mexican Francisco Rodriguez. But a reminder that tonight the unbeaten British Olympic gold medalist Galal Yafai is facing seasoned Mexican Rodriguez Jr. for the WBC Interim World Flyweight title, live only on DAZN. Sign up at DAZN.com/boxing.
Boxing Update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davis, Spencer Yeoman Oliver alongside me. I was in Riyadh yesterday for the first of 3 press conferences in the next week involving Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Bud Crawford, the launch of the press tour. Very impressive men. September the 13th, Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, probably the biggest fight in terms of attendance we've seen in Vegas. They're headlining it, top-lining it as the biggest fight of the century. I'm not sure I would call it that. There have been some very big fights this century already, but it is an enormous fight between the Ring Magazine's number 3 pound for pound in the world, Terrence Crawford, Spencer, and the number 8 pound for pound in the world in Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I think a combined total of 108 fights between them. Bud undefeated in 41 fights, stepping up 2 weight divisions. Do you like this fight?
Love this fight. It is definitely the biggest fight in the last 10 years or so. We've got 2 of the pound for pound best. Different weight divisions, but this is the beauty of Turki Al-Sheikh and his introduction into boxing, Riyadh season. So, you know, on all of that, making these fights happen, you know, this is a fantasy fight that we would never have seen years ago that we are now getting, and it's a great fight, you know. And for me, the smaller guy, Terrence Crawford, comes through this one and pulls off the upset against Canelo.
Well, that's a very good segue to the interview. Yes, I caught up with Saul Canelo Alvarez in Riyadh ahead of this huge clash with Crawford on September the 13th. I asked him, Spencer, who he thinks is under more pressure.
The pressure is always with me. If I'm moving up 2 weight classes or light heavyweight or this and that, the pressure is always in my side. No, but I've been in this situation a lot of times, and I'm just calm. I'm gonna put my best, my boxing IQ and my experience, my best in the training camp and just go there and win.
Tell me what makes Crawford, because you will have studied him. He told us earlier he's a fan of you, has always been. What makes him a difficult opponent?
No, you know, he can do the both guards. He can do everything. He can counter punch, move around. He is a complete fighter. He's a complete fighter. It's going to be a difficult fight, but, you know, it's nothing new for me.
Tell us about Turki Al-Sheikh and dinner last night with Bud Crawford. You were together at the dinner with him.
Yeah, it's not what I like, but, you know, I always respect my opponents, you know. I don't like to talk and being like involved in a fight.
Only if Oscar's here, maybe.
Yeah, if they with me.
Yeah, they with you, you give it back, yeah?
That's a different Canelo.
So if Crawford do you back, yeah?
Yeah, it's different. It's different. But, you know, I like to respect my opponents because sometimes I talk a lot and they do nothing in the fight. So when both fighters respect each other, it's a guarantee it's going to be a good fight.
Is this... I make the comparison in this fight between Marvin Hagler, you, and him, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
Is that fair, that comparison? A historic comparison?
Could be. We don't know. We're going to see it to September 13th.
Will you knock him out, do you think?
I always go there with my man and try to knock him out, everyone. So if I have the opportunity to do it, I'm going to do it.
Some vintage Canelo?
Yeah, vintage Canelo.
And will you fight in the UK at some point, please?
It will be a pleasure for me to fight there. We'll see after this.
If Hamza Shiraz beats Edgar Berlanga, would you come and fight Shiraz in the UK?
It's a possibility. Why not?
He's a very impressive man. It was great to be around him yesterday, as it was. His English is good now, because we had years, I used to speak to him in Spanish, you know I speak Spanish. Very impressive, answers everything right. Wasn't happy to sit having dinner with Terrence Crawford, but happy to fulfill his obligations. Taking Crawford very seriously, knows he's a game, dangerous opponent, always looking for the knockout. Very impressive man.
Listen, he was right in what he said there. You know, when both guys respect each other going into the ring, you know you're in for a good fight. You know you're in for a big fight. He respects Terrence Crawford and what he brings to the table. His boxing IQ, his movement, his punch power as well. 31 of his 40 victories have come inside the distance. And if he gets the opportunity, he's very, very spiteful. you don't want to be sitting with your opponent, just weeks really before a fight and having dinner with him. It doesn't do that because your brain doesn't do that. You go to bed thinking about the guy. You think about him during the day. You wake up thinking about him, and it's a different sort of thing. This guy's trying to take your living away. He's trying to, so
and there's more on the line for him.
Having dinner with someone is like, it just messes the whole thing up. It's crazy.
And people in the sport like us are just finagling towards Terrence Crawford, believing that he might be able to do this. It's a big ask, but he's capable of doing it. So Canelo knows there's pressure on him going into this fight.
Absolutely. Listen, when you get greats, not just of the modern era, but all-time greats, and I can guarantee that Terrence Crawford is going to fall into that bracket.
Yeah.
If I put him in with any welterweight in any era, I would. And I know a lot of people, they may knock me for saying that, but I would. And that's including Sugar Ray Leonard and all those guys. You go back to Alexis Arguello and all those guys you're talking about. I would put him in with them, right? So you've got to respect the guy, man. You've got to respect what he can deliver. I mean, great comparison, by the way, when you talked about SugarRay Leonard and Marvin Hagler. Leonard coming off that inactivity, but really, his best
2 weight divisions,
absolutely,
and the greatest victory of his career, arguably as well.
Listen, but that's what great fighters can do, and I think that Canelo Alvarez respects that because Terrence Crawford is that guy.
And the other thing about Crawford, and we've had this debate, you and I, a few times, and the better he gets, I know he's gone up in weight. There's an argument that Crawford and Mayweather would have been an incredible fight at welterweight as well. I'm just marginally picking Mayweather because I've watched him live so many times, and he always found a way of winning rounds. But it wouldn't be remiss if you were going for Crawford over Mayweather.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you?
Listen, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. I'm not saying it's a 50-50 fight, that is. I'm not leaning one way or the other. But what I'm saying is, we still, Terrence Crawford always finds a way, as did Mayweather.
Exactly.
Mayweather was great. You look back at him, yes, he is one of the all-time greats. Terrence Crawford's still got some way to go. Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez on the 13th of September. That argument is well and truly there.
Absolutely. Well, I caught up with the bud himself, Terrence Crawford, who kicked things off by having a dig about a button being undone on my shirt.
Come on, man. You always dappered up. Button your shirt up, Mike.
You're hanging out.
You always got all the nice outfits on. You dress up to par. I always give you credit about dressing. Then you got your button all hanging out and stuff. Come on, man. You better.
Do you want me to go away and redress and come back then?
You better than that, mate.
That's a very good impersonation of being a Brit, Bud Crawford. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh.
You are promoting a huge fight with the one and only Saul Canelo Alvarez. Do you believe this could be the biggest legacy fight of your career?
Most definitely, it is. I don't believe it. It is.
Why is that so?
Because everything is up for grabs. 3-time undisputed, 3 different weight classes, going up 2 weight divisions to fight the undefeated in 168 division Canelo Alvarez, another all-time great Hall of Famer, and Canelo Alvarez. Everything is on the line for this fight.
Is there more pressure on him than there is on you because you're the one going up in the weight divisions?
There's pressure on both of us. We both want to win. I don't see why it's less pressure on me. I want to win. I don't want to lose. I'm not going to lose. I want to become undisputed in 3 weight classes, and that's what I'm going to.
Are you prepared to be hit harder than you've ever been hit in your career?
Hey, that comes with the sport.
Again, the second man in this list of 2 protagonists who are going to fight in Vegas on September the 13th. One of the big weekends, of course, always in Las Vegas, the second Saturday in September. Mexican holiday as well, always traditionally big. Mayweather used the date. It's a Canelo date now. Very impressive there. He's got a presence about him, Terrence.
They both have, and that's why I like what he said there. That there's pressure on both of these guys because what they're fighting for. People will be saying, "Well, there's more pressure on Canelo because he's the bigger guy." No, they're fighting for greatness here. This is what it is. This is different. You know, we're talking about Canelo Alvarez, who's been a 4-weight world champion, undisputed super middleweight champion, and Terrence Crawford, who's been a 2-weight undisputed champion, 4-weight world champion, looking to become a 3-time undisputed world champion. I mean, that is quite incredible. We're talking about greatness here. So equal pressure on him and Terrence Crawford as well.
It was very interesting. The belt's worth 150 grand that they're giving them. The press conference, obviously, Turki Al Sheikh. The Dana White not there yesterday, which I thought was interesting. Obviously, the promoters of TKO, this new elision with Turki Al Sheikh and Dana White, though I suspect he will be there at the press conference this weekend in New York and also there in Vegas next week. 3-city tour, won't fail to sell. It'll be on Netflix. Big numbers?
Huge numbers. Netflix, brilliant move. I think it's a huge move, and like changing of the times, you know, we're capturing a different audience there as well. And I think that with the fight, genius by Turki Al Sheikh as well, Riyadh Season, allowing the fight to go because they paid for the fight. They've got the fight. They could quite easily put it in Saudi Arabia, but to allow that to go to the US, Las Vegas, the mecca of boxing, is genius with Netflix as well. I think that's a genius move.
I agree, and I was calling for the Terrence Crawford-Canelo fight as a fantasy fight as soon as he beat Errol Spence, and here we are, September. We get it.
That the politics have gone out of the sport, you know. That's what the Saudis, Turki Al Sheikh, and all the guys there have done. They've taken the politics away. No broadcasting, no 50-50, 40-60 splits. None of that going on right now. The deal is the deal, and we're getting the fantasy fights, which is the best. Us boxing fans are the winners.
Absolutely. Well, don't go anywhere. For the next half an hour, the next 2 sections, we're joined by the heavyweight prospect Jeamie TKV, who's with us in the studio. Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davis Spencer, Oliver alongside me as always. Jeamie TKV. Chikiva.
You just had it.
Spencer?
Listen, I can do it. Yeah, Jeamie TKV.
There you go. Jeamie TKV did warm me. Chikiva. Jeamie TKV is with us, the young heavyweight who's been in the news in recent times because of the controversy over his fight with David Adelaide. It's great to see you. We were just talking about the heat.
Yeah.
You like the heat, but it's too hot for you at the moment.
It's a bit too humid today. I don't know, man. I think the building's covering us. It don't give us enough air to breathe. You know, it's a bit hot today.
We need a little bit of water, mate. A little bit of sea. That's what it is.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Let's dive straight into it. You're 8-2-0 with 5 wins by knockout. You're trained by Barry Smith and Ben Davison in the brilliant BD Performance Centre in Harlow. Obviously, Fabio Wardley's there, Moses Itauma is there, Anthony Joshua is there. We're going to get into that in a little bit on whether you all come in and out on different shifts or not, because sometimes, I mean, I know Ben and Barry very well, obviously, but I just sometimes get a picture of like this heavyweight sweatshop where you all turn up at the same time and you're all knocking 6 bells out of each other. Yeah. But we'll get into that. Talk to us first of all about this clip that you got, this punch that you got from David Adelaide, and how you felt afterwards, because you're not a man given to remonstrations, you're a very mellow dude, obviously you're a big man and a fighter, but you didn't remonstrate heavily at the time. You accepted what happened when he hit you in the clinch, and the referee pulled your hand down at the time, and it was seen as very controversial. Talk us through your feelings about it.
I mean, of course, I know it was unfair, but what happened. You know, sometimes you can't change that circumstance. The only thing we could have done is what we did after. You know, just fight our case, and which did work out eventually to the point that a decent point. Obviously not 100% how we wanted it, but once that referee stops the fight, there's so much you can do. So all that
there's not much you can do.
There's not much you can do. So I mean, there's no point of just screaming and shouting. Of course you can show that, but I just took it how it was, and we dealt with it after.
I wasn't there live. I was watching it from South Carolina at the time. I was working on a bare knuckle event. I was watching it in a bar on the beach. I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with it, but for me, I wasn't there live, and the reason I'm saying I wasn't there live is there seemed to be a weird rhythm about the fight between the two of you that night.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? We've sparred a lot of rounds.
Is it because of that?
No, it's like we've sparred a lot of rounds, and our rounds have always been great. But I don't know if because of the emotions that happened, like the emotions between us beforehand, and just the emotions of how big the fight was, the occasion. I guess it got to not necessarily got to the both of us, but I guess we both could have been just a touch better.
Because you were winning the fight.
Yeah, of course.
That's the point. I think it was 5th round, wasn't it? But you were winning the fight.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say, like, when you go in there and you know your opponent, and sometimes the styles on the night, because of the pressure of both of you, and you're going in there and what was on the line, the styles just didn't gel, and it was turning into a really ugly fight, and there was shots being hit after the break here, there, and everywhere, and it was a very difficult fight to control. And you looked at that there and you go, the momentum was starting to go with you. David was starting to fall a little bit short, and he was struggling to adapt to the situation. And what happened, and I respect you in many ways for not really making too much of a scene out of it, because the shot clearly, like the referee pulled your hand down, you looked the other way, and you got chinned there because of that reason. But I respect what you done there and the way you handled it, because of the way the fight was right from the opening bell. It was a dogfight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a dogfight. He was trying to get his shots off. I was trying to get my shots off, but I was trying to do what I worked on, which I knew, and eventually was starting to come. Like, it started to happen by round 4 or 5, and I knew it was only going to turn that way from then on. I knew it was going to be all TKV from then on onwards. But obviously, what happened. Yeah,
you didn't need to remonstrate, because Barry Smith remonstrated for you on the night, because Barry went and grabbed everyone and gave a load of very good interviews at the time and jumped to your defence. I thought he was fantastic on the night. He didn't attack David Adelaide too strongly either. What he said was, that's unfair, what's happened there. We got a little clip here from Dave Allen talking this week, by the way. We want you to watch this. Have a little look.
I spoke to Ed earlier. TKV for the British is an option. There's a massive fight on the table right now, bigger than big.
Tell me.
No, I can't.
You can't?
You won't believe how big it is. Think of a big fight, yeah, it's bigger than that.
It's bigger than Wilder?
Yeah.
Really?
I've not seen Dave this excited in a very, very long time.
Bigger than that.
Give me a clue.
No, but it's bigger than that.
Please.
For all the marbles. Big fight for big. Yeah, bigger than Wilder. Yeah.
Are there any talks with Wilder at the moment?
No, I've not spoken to him since 2013.
Not you.
No. I don't know.
So we're no advance or anything like that. They've been approached.
At the minute, another fight is a possibility. It's bigger than Wilder, so we'll have to see.
Where can we see that happening?
September time.
Where?
Not sure. England.
Just England.
England.
Will we see you be fighting in Sheffield anytime soon?
Well, I might fight TKV there. Yeah, that's a big possibility. But there's loads of possibilities. They're all possibilities.
There's a few things to unravel there before I ask you a question. Obviously, initially you were going to rematch David Adelaide for the British title.
Yeah.
Dave Allen's come out with that now. Tell us what you know from your side about a fight with Dave Allen. Also, how you feel about the fact that David Adelaide has moved on and he's now on that August 16th card against Filip Hrgović.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was disappointed when I saw that because I had my heart set on making it right.
Yeah.
And
wanted the rematch.
Yeah, I 100% wanted the rematch. I was prepared for it. I was preparing quietly, and I wasn't saying too much. I knew what I was gonna turn up, and so obviously seeing that, I was disappointed. That I was a bit pissed about it. But the one thing that did piss me off. Sorry,
that's fine. That's fine. They've got a bleep button. It's
alright,
fine.
so the thing that upset me was the fact that he was saying that he signed a contract, and he was waiting. He was planning on fighting me, but the whole time he wasn't planning on fighting me at all. He was avoiding the fight altogether. Like, if he really believed in himself, he would have took that rematch and got things right. Because right now he's not looking like a real British champion.
I spoke to Adam Booth, actually, his trainer, and Adam Booth actually said this week that it was on and it was definitely happening, but this is a business and the opportunities come up to fight Filip Hrgović, and he said that's why he's taken that, and he still believes that fight with you two will happen at some point.
Yeah.
But obviously
I think that's
they had to go for that opportunity, and there will be other opportunities for you because you come out with a lot of merit from there. I think if anything, your stock rose in a loss because of the controversial ending the way that it was, but you surprised a lot of people in the way that you fought there.
But as you say, you've gone away quietly, and in your mind, you were preparing for Adelaide too.
Preparing for Adelaide, exactly. But obviously, yes, opportunities. It does make sense. Like, I mean, many people do what he done in his position, but the fact that what's happened in our fight and how everyone's talking about it, I would have want to put that to bed first. That would have been my main priority. So what it looks like is that he was scared of me just losing, scared of losing. I mean, in a way, if he loses to Hrgović, people can give him some grace. They'll say, you know what, he moved up a bit too quickly. He's okay. He still has space there. So for me, it's a win-win. I'll be honest with you, it's a kind of a win-win situation for Adelaide. I mean, he's making that money, and I guess people give him some grace a little bit if he takes it. But I give him a chance in that fight.
So just to clarify then with the Dave Allen comments there as well, does that mean with Adelaide going to fight Hrgović on August the 16th in Riyadh on the undercard of Moza Tauma and Dillian White, that British title will fall vacant?
It should be, because
so you and Dave Allen for the British, was that a fight you'd like?
I would love to.
Would you like that?
Look, it doesn't matter who it is. As long as I'm fighting for the British heavyweight title, I'm here for it.
Is that a good fight though?
Yeah, I really like Dave Allen. I like his style.
No, but do you dislike him enough to knock
dislike
him
him. But listen, I have no problem with Dave Allen. We're both just fighters, just trying to make, create legacy.
We're here with Jeamie TKV. Chikiva. I'm going to get this by the end of the half an hour. Because I've always called you Jeamie TKV.
Yeah, I know.
I've never practiced saying it.
Yeah.
That's what everyone calls him. Just stick with that. It's
because
easier.
no one ever gets it right. We are here with this great character in the studio listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. He's not going anywhere. Neither is he, and neither am I. We'll see you in a minute. I'm Gareth Davis. You're listening or watching Fight Night talkSPORT. Spencer of the Omen Oliver is in with me. So is Jeamie TKV.
Oh,
there you go.
You might as well just keep it.
I don't want to call you a prospect because you're a young, brilliant heavyweight who trains in the Ben Davison Performance Centre with the brilliant Barry Smith, who we all love. Barry, one of the great characters of boxing. He could knock a few heavyweights around a little bit.
He was good in his day.
He was very good in his day. And he's a big boy now. He's about 20 stone now.
I thought he was ready to go, mate.
Still packs a punch, man.
He did look ready to go after David Adeleye threw that punch after the referee had called a halt to the action. Look, you go to that place in Harlow. It's a brilliant performance centre with Fabio Wardley training there, Moses Tauma training there, Anthony Joshua training there. Just explain how you all come in. Are you all in there together sometimes? Do you come on deliberately in different shifts? How does it work?
So obviously, when we see each other, we kind of like lock eyes and we screw each other. We don't talk to each other. Nah, I'm joking. I had you there, innit? But no, we're cool. We spend a lot of time together. We bust jokes. We spar if we need to. We do a lot. We do bag circuits. We do drills together. So it's just good to have people like Fabio and Moses and AJ in the gym because you feed off each other and you see them doing well. Just learning off what everyone does too, because everyone's in camps at the same time. So what he does in camp, okay, I might do that from my camp.
AJ, good for you advice-wise?
Yeah, of course,
guy
man.
in that
Big
way?
bro.
Big bro.
Man, 100%. Obviously, I try to get as much advice from AJ as I can because he's done it all, man.
Success breeds success.
Yeah.
And when you're in a gym like that and you're all learning and feeding off each other, and it's competition as well because boxers have got egos, right? And you want to be the number one.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're Jeamie TKV or Anthony Joshua, the poster boy of British boxing. Yeah. You want his spot, like, you know what I mean? You're all mates and you're all learning, but that strives, that pushes you that little extra mile, you know.
You know, it's funny you say that because I don't have that feeling towards none of them. I want everyone to do well in their
but
spot.
you want to be the number one. That's what I'm saying. Out of a successful gym,
it feels like that, but at the same time, no. You know, I just want everyone else to do well together. Like, it's just a weird feeling. Like, not a weird feeling, but like if Fabio's fighting, I'll promote his fight. You get what I'm saying? If Moses fight, I'll promote his fight, and I'll support them. You know what I'm saying?
Does it make it... This is a really important question because if you're in that gym for years and Moses is in there for years and Fabio's in there for years and AJ, the four of you are all obviously at different stages, aren't you?
Yes.
And Moses is being talked about. We'll ask about him in a minute. But the problem for me is if you become like family with those three other guys... When your opportunity comes, you might have to fight them as well. Are you okay with that?
Do you know what? You just never know with boxing. Just put it that way. But look, just like you said, at the moment we're family, you know. So, but I've known Moses from when he was 11, 12.
Right.
So, and I know that for me, I look at him like the younger big bro.
Maybe that's the perfect moment then to ask that question about Chikeva.
Yeah.
Chikeva?
Yeah, yes.
Chikeva.
You're getting closer.
He's got Slovakian and Nigerian, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What have you got then? What's Chikeva?
Oh, so it's a Congolese
surname.
It's
Surname.
previously called Zaire, where Muhammad Ali and George Foreman fought.
Indeed.
So
Kinshasa.
Kinshasa. That's it. It's a Congolese surname.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can I answer the question? I'm going to answer the question for Jeamie here.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, being that family and when it's business and you come down there and everything else. Let me tell you about fighters. I used to spar my brother all the time, right? And when the bell rings, it's not your brother anymore. It's just like you because we're so conditioned, so regimental, like we're robotic in so many ways that you put that aside for one moment. You get in there, do the thing. You're cuddling and you're hugging and you'll have a pint at the bar together afterwards or whatever it is. But business is business and boxing is boxing. And when the bell rings. It doesn't matter who the person is in front of you.
Yeah, but Fabio Wardley always says he couldn't fight Dillian White because he's done so much for him.
Of course.
Derek Chisora said he could never fight Anthony Joshua because they're so close. Is there anyone like Moses, and I want to ask you about AJ in a minute, but is there anyone like Moses? Would you find it too difficult to fight Moses?
Yeah, 100%. Even the same goes with Fabio and AJ.
Do you bash him up in sparring though?
No, I don't bash up. There's no bashing up no one.
All right, let me
trying to get a headline.
Let me rephrase this. Let me rephrase this. If there was 10 million quid on the table for you to fight AJ, would you
or
fight
Moses? Or
10 million.
Moses?
I'm like, yo, AJ.
No, but what I'm saying
yo,
is...
AJ, let's run that one. Let's get that chick. Let's get that...
That's what I'm saying about the business side of things as well. What I'm saying is, Derek Chisora says he'd never fight Anthony Joshua because they've grown up together and they're in the gym. If there was 10 million quid on the table, we'd fight him because that's the business. Anthony would want him to earn that money, and they just put it on the line for the fans, and they come out and they're still mates after.
It's fascinating.
That's very true.
Who would you like to see AJ fight next?
Tyson Fury, man. I mean, the only reason why I say that quickly is because we always spoke about Deontay Wilder, AJ, but AJ's actually never boxed Deontay Wilder or Fury, so we need those fights.
What about Wilder? If Wilder wins next weekend, would you like to see AJ in with Wilder?
Yeah. I feel like, Fury and Wilder are the only two left from his era.
I think we both completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But I still think Wilder and Joshua is a big fight.
Yeah. I don't want to see AJ in with anyone else apart from Fury and Wilder because I think that's where the legacy is cemented, and we don't want to see him fighting anybody else at this stage of his career. And the same for Wilder and the same for Tyson Fury as well. I think now they need to get it on.
We haven't got you all night. We need to ask you some more questions. Who wins? How does that fight go with Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte on August the 16th in Riyadh? Come on, be honest.
Come on, man. Putting me on the spot. But
Derek said it was murder just now, but when we had him on. Derek Chisora, we had him on earlier. He said someone should be arrested for allowing that fight. He was joking.
Yeah, of course, but I know.
What's your feeling about the fight?
I think just the young gun, man. Look, he's on a roll. Look, Dillian Whyte in his day was good. Not saying that he's not good, but Dillian Whyte was Dillian Whyte. You know what I'm saying? But
is Dillian still capable of causing an upset? What people would see as an upset against Moses?
I mean, look, Moses is super sharp, man. I don't see an upset coming. I'll be real with you. He's super sharp.
Dillian Whyte's got the punch power to end it with any one heavyweight, but
especially that left hook.
His timing, mate.
I know. I listen. I agree with you. I think Dillian's going to earn very well. We've talked about it earlier. He earns very well. If he wins, he's got the carrot of the WBO #1 ranking because Moses is #1 with the WBO, and he's going to pick up a couple of million. But I just think the kid's too good, too fast, too strong, too agile, too southpaw, and I don't think it goes 5 rounds.
But then again, he would have never taken it if he doesn't believe that he can beat Moses.
There you go.
So he believes in himself, but I believe in Moses. I know what Moses can do. So
David Adelaide on that card versus Filip Hrgović. How does that go, Jamie?
Do you know what? I still give Adelaide a chance because Adelaide still got some speed and athletic ability for him to do something. Look, we're fine. Anything can happen. So I still give him a chance. It's not a complete write-off how people are saying it.
We've got to say goodbye to you now, but
unfortunately,
I know it's gone so quickly because I've been for an hour. You've got to come back.
I'll come back.
We loved you on Fight Nights, and I want to know the whole background of how you got into boxing.
It's a funny story.
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah.
Could you tell us quickly or not?
Well, so I come from a freestyle wrestling background, and one time my dad was doing like a youth program, and there was boxing. So my friend said, why don't you try out boxing? Did a little session. He said, you got some athletic ability. Why don't you give it a go? He said, you can make millions. I said, what? Millions? I'm like, it's still trying to make that feeling.
Yeah, but you will make those millions.
I will, in God's grace, brother.
To see you. Jamie TKV Chikiva.
Chikiva.
I got it, Chikiva. I got it in the end. Got it in the end.
It's still a little bit out there, but we want TKV to get his opportunity, man, because this guy deserves it. This guy deserves it. Come on, give Jamie TKV that opportunity.
Jamie TKV, thank you very much for joining us tonight. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT.
Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong. My, Liverpool are keeping busy this transfer window. But as Alex Crook says,
I don't think they're finished there, Liverpool. Big whispers yesterday about their interest in Mark Gay at Crystal Palace, and they definitely want to bring in another forward as well. So the champions, well, they're not messing about.
elsewhere, the countdown is almost over. Live on talkSPORT tonight, the Lions are in Dublin for their warm-up match against Argentina. And here's what we can expect from the South Americans.
They're fifth in the world. In the last year, they've beaten the likes of New Zealand, Australia, handsomely as well. They beat Australia 67 points. They just lost Ireland in the autumn 22-19. This is going to be a tough game, for a team that haven't played together. They've been together for a couple of weeks. They're playing a world-class outfit.
The rest of the tour down under is also live on talkSPORT this summer. And according to Eddie Jones, Australia really need this.
The rugby league's done really well in Australia recently, and Aussie Rules, the domestic sport, is probably one of the most well-run competitions in the world, and they've got a huge following. But rugby's about international sport, and the series like the Lions will captivate the Australian sporting community, and you'll see the game being very heavily followed and patronated.
You're spoilt for choice tonight because Chelsea's second Club World Cup match against Flamengo is live on talkSPORT 2. We had Torre Andre Flo join us earlier. He was asked what he's made of his former club's strategy of signing young players with sell-on value.
If they are successful, they will be called genius, all of them. But yes, I think it will also take a little bit of time. But that time is now coming. But also we've seen that Chelsea are getting better and better.
And today has been another scorcher. So will Royal Ascot ever loosen their dress code for those in attendance?
I'm sure they're considering it, because I have heard of people, think of the cameramen who are running around, and they have to be turned out in top hat and tails as well. I mean, it is tough work.
And head to talksport.com to find out who has tipped West Ham for relegation next season.
Welcome back to Fight Night talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davis, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. Still to come, we're joined by Sugar Shane Mosley, an absolute legend in our sport. And cruiserweight Pat Brown will join the show, having just won in Birmingham tonight. Galal Yafai, unfortunately, lost to Edwin Rodriguez. What a shame, but he got beaten up in that fight. All that still to come on this hour. Bad news about Gal Yafai there, my friend. Rodriguez, though, a very dangerous fighter. We'll catch you up with Pat Brown about his performance tonight. Great star in the making here. Big mates with Dave Allen, of course. But sad for Galal Yafai. Maybe they pushed him forward against too dangerous and a Mexican too early. Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez is a dangerous guy, 36 fight veteran who's been around a long time.
And is only 32 still, so he's still at the peak of his powers.
Typical Mexican style, comes forward, likes to have a fight. Gal Yafai is that guy as well that comes forward, likes to have a fight. But look, Olympic gold medalist, 9 fights as a pro. Too much too soon. Unfortunately, he's come unstuck tonight, but, that can be the moulding of some fighters. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to make anything. He just needs to go back, regroup, and come back bigger, better, and stronger.
When I saw that matchup being made, we're going to talk about sauna use in boxing, or the fact there shouldn't be sauna use in boxing in a minute, but when I saw that Rodriguez had gone 10 rounds with Junto Nakatani and had pushed him all the way, I was concerned about the tensile strength of Galal in this fight, because we both said it before the show, before the matchup was made, that the problem for him is he only knows one way to fight, which is come forward and be an aggressive counter-punching fighter. Rodriguez was southpaw as well, and he was first to the punch all the time tonight.
Yeah, it was strange matchmaking for me to take on someone like Rodriguez, and Galao is an incredible prospect, very, very good fighter. The fundamentals are great. He's very strong, switches the shots to the body and the head very, very well. Walks in straight lines sometimes. Still a lot of learning to do there. You know, the potential is there, but still a lot of learning. Rodriguez is a rough, seasoned campaigner. You know, strange matchmaking for me. I wouldn't have taken that fight for him. When I heard the fight with Rodriguez was made, it was a little eyebrow raiser for sure.
So Chris Eubank Jr., we've seen how he cut weight. He was fined £1,000 for not making weight, the weight of a Cadbury's cream egg or whatever it was at the time. Literally a slither, a big packet of crisps against this amazing event that we had against Conor Benn. He was fined $375. He was fined for the egg slap $100,000, but he's back in front of the board now for that video he made of his weight cut, where he's stripping off that sauna suit. Supposedly he was in a sauna. It wasn't in a sauna he was doing it, but he was stripping off a sauna suit. He's got to go before the board next month. He's not their favourite guy. Just to make it absolutely clear, use of saunas and use of sauna suits, and we can get into this with you because you're an ex-fighter, is banned by the Boxing Board of Control. But tell me a fighter that doesn't use a sauna suit.
Well, I was gonna flip that back at you and ask you to tell me a fighter, because I know that historically goes on. It was going on when I was boxing back in the 90s, you know. But I think that, you know, the use of saunas is not allowed. It's in the rules. It's not allowed with fighters to strip weight that way. So normally they skip it off, put a black bag. I used to put a black bag on. They never even had sauna suits then. A black bag on. You'd make the holes in the top and the arms, and you would skip for an hour, and you sweat out. And I'd sit in the corner of the ring, wrap myself in blankets, and sit there sweating away, you know, so that you got that heat and you lost them final pounds. So look, there was no proof that Chris Eubank Jr. was in a sauna. Yes, he had a sauna suit on.
He did.
Was he skipping before? You know, there's no evidence to say that. And by the way, the Boxing Board of Control knows this goes on historically. They know that. Robert Smith's a former boxer himself, so he understands the cutting of weight. All fighters do it, but because he's gone public with it and the way that it was done, now he's being reminded in front of the Boxing Board of Control. Should he be punished? No, he shouldn't be punished, because it's an unseen rule that this happens.
Okay, hold it there for a minute. We're going to hear from Harlem Eubank and Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn believes that the rules should be changed and there should be a forum and it should be brought up to date. Have a listen to this.
The board don't allow use of the sauna. I think, to be honest with you, the board, who I think do a great job, have got to look at the modern day methods that fighters use to make weight, because you can't just be prehistoric and think that fighters don't cut weight. How do you think they're going to cut weight for a weigh-in? You know, there's kind of like a code where you're not allowed to talk about use of a sauna, and you're not supposed to use a sauna, and, you know, and hot baths and stuff like that. But at the same time, they also know that fighters drop 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds, you know, in the final 24 hours of a fight. So, you know, Eubanks obviously put everything out on social media about how he made the weight.
Yeah.
I think one of those was using a sauna or sauna suit, and, you know, he'll have to go in before the board. It's happened to me before, like I said, about 7 or 8 years ago, when I was referring to a fighter that we represented. And, you know, I think, to be honest with you, you know, the board need to get a little bit up to speed and start speaking to experts in the game about how to safely cut weight.
Every fighter uses methods to cut weight before a weigh-in. Just as, you know, it's well documented that the other side also, you know, use some kind of mechanism, you know, which was posted to cut weight. But I don't know why, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. has been vilified at every single angle. You know, everything he's had to overcome in the build-up, you know, they tried everything, you know, and you know, couldn't get him on his worst day. So I don't know why, you know, there's been an assault to try and, you know, fine him for 0.01 of a pound, and, you know, and now he's using a sauna suit. It's not even a sauna. It's it looked like a heated blanket.
So there's the verification from Harlem Eubank there that it wasn't a sauna, it was a sauna suit, and I agree with him. There's a degree of vilification towards Chris Eubank Jr. in this. I think Eddie's point is very well made as well, that they need to come into the modern day and that there is new technology around now. As you say, you used to use bin bags, cut off bin bags to do it, to find a way of creating heat in the body. You've got to lose the weight somehow. And the other thing that's happening, which is more modern, is that a lot of weigh-ins now, we've got ceremonial weigh-ins on the Friday nights, if it's a Saturday fight night, but there's often weigh-ins at 9 in the morning. So you have to look at the weight draining, which is often maybe getting on for 30 hours before a fight. So I think that all needs to be looked at.
Absolutely. Listen, I think if a fighter's wearing a sauna suit, that means that he's genuinely been skipped. You don't just put on a sauna suit and start sweating, especially when you strip down at the weight. You have to do something to do that, whether that means going for a run, doing some shadow boxing, skipping. But that's what it would have been. So Chris Eubank Jr. would have possibly been doing something like that before, then showed himself in the sauna suit, wrapping himself in the blankets. That's standard. That's what it is. He hasn't just put a suit on and then lied in a sleeping bag and then started sweating and losing the weight. So that, you know, it's very smart what Chris Eubank Jr. has done there, because he highlighted it, documented it. Because if he goes and gets beat, you go, well, look, I was tight at the weight and this is what it was. It's all covering his tracks a little bit. I think that was a genius move. The reason that the Boxing Board of Control banned fighters from using saunas to drop weight is because when you get into a sauna, it does something to the muscles. It relaxes the muscles and does everything, so you may underperform going into that one. That's the reason for using saunas. I agree with Eddie to a certain extent that, you know, fighters maybe should be allowed to use it in certain circumstances, but you may lose control of it that way. I think that we just need to stick to the way. If you're overweight, you need to skip it off, work it off, as opposed to sitting in the sauna, because the sauna does something to the muscles.
I think these, you know, you see in MMA, guys cut 40 pounds in the week of a fight sometimes. They use Epsom salt baths. There's all kinds of methods out there. I think in this case, because that video was made, because it was so high profile, I think the board are reacting like they need to be seen to be doing something about it. I think that's what's happening in this case.
Totally agree, and that's what it is. They can't be seen not to be doing something about it. That's for sure. But the victim of all of this is Chris Eubank Jr. and he's been a victim right from the right from the opening day. You know, like, everything has been stacked against Chris Eubank Jr. Making the 160, okay, he called for that and he said that he wanted the fight made at that weight. We know he's tight at 160 now. His better days would be at 168. But, you know, I think we get the rematch and he'll go back at 160 as well. But everything's been against him. That 0.1% pound or whatever it was before, a packet of crisps, as you say, or a cream egg or whatever you want to do, and being fined 350 odd grand, 375,000 pounds. Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
But that goes to Conor Benn. But that's the agreement. For the clause in their agreement over the weight cut.
But on the flip side, I think because he put the rehydration clause in, he got an extra £1 million for that. So when you weigh it up, actually, he's like 625 grand up. So you know,
I don't think we'll ever get away from this as an issue. Because you know, one of the big things about boxing, there's weight divisions for a reason, and it is about a weight cut no matter what. I mean, there are the odd person in history. Bernard Hopkins never cut any weight, but he went to bed at 9 o'clock. He never had a morsel over what he was meant to eat. But I do think there should be a move towards fighters fighting more at their natural weight as well.
Well, I wish they would all do it. You know, that's why I got injured, because I couldn't make the weight anymore. You know, the final few days for me, it wasn't just the day before. For the final few days, stripping the weight, doing what I said, wrapping myself in blankets, skipping, that you're so tight, the weight just wasn't coming off.
Did you use a sauna?
And back in the day, the nutrition wasn't there. No, I didn't use a sauna. Everything
Did
was
you
trained.
ever use a sauna?
Never used a sauna.
Ever?
Always worked it off.
Right.
You know, I trained it off.
And why didn't you use a sauna then?
Because the rules stipulated that you couldn't use a sauna. I was young, I was hungry, I didn't want to get punished for that, so I would skip it off, do it the proper way. But back in the day, you just wouldn't eat for 3 days. Or if you weighed in, you come in the night before and you're weighing, for me it was 8 stone 12 and I had to be 8 stone 10, the message would be, well, just don't eat and drink. So you're dry at the weight anyway. You're not eating and drinking. The weigh-in was at 6 o'clock. That's where the damage is done because you're starving your body, dehydrating your body.
Yeah.
The brain loses all the cushioning around it because there's no fluids there. All the vessels in and around the brain lose that elasticity. They become like bits of straw, and injuries happen because the brain knocks against the skull because the cushioning's gone. But how do we overcome that? It's going to be very difficult.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. You're listening and watching Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davis, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. It gives me a great pleasure to say that we are joined right now by an absolute legend, Hall of Famer in the sport, former 3-weight world champion, the one and only Sugar Shane Mosley, who is actually making a comeback, we hear, in London. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're really well, my friend. Listen, Sugar Shane, I've got to say, mate, I will just look at you on the screen there. You look like 20 years younger than the last time I see you, man. You look like you've gone back in time.
Hey, I'm working hard. I'm keeping myself in shape and, just getting ready. I've been in the gym with a lot of these young guys and they're making me young. Keep me young, I should say.
I saw you working out there with Manny Pacquiao. Did I see you doing a little bit of shadowboxing with Manny Pacquiao just recently online there somewhere? I mean, what's going on there? Are you working alongside him at the moment?
Yeah, I was just showing him some of my speed. You know, I went for a run with him. He's in great shape, man. That guy's working very, very hard.
What's your feeling about that, Shane, that he's coming back at 46 to fight a world champion, a young stud in Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight crown?
Well, Manny, to me, looks really, really good. He looks really, really good right now. And, you know, he's doing his thing. He looks like he can really fight. I think he has a good chance to win. I mean, he's in great shape. I was running with him up the hill up in the Griffith Park, and he was doing his thing.
I've got to read out some of the resume of your career, because you really did fight a who's who, and you didn't win all these fights, but the names that you went in with from 2003 to about 2012. I mean, I can remember traveling to America to many of your fights, from Oscar De La Hoya to Winky Wright twice, Fernando Vargas twice, Luis Colazzo, Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez. I mean, it's just extraordinary. Do you ever pinch yourself in your early 50s now that there was this halcyon period in your life when you literally fought everyone?
I mean, you know, you're right. I literally fought everybody, and I don't really think about it. I just love the sport of boxing. So I go to gyms and I'll spar with everybody, and move around with all these undefeated different fighters. So all these different fighters and stuff like that. So can you see me? Wait a minute. I think it went off. Oh, here we go. My phone.
No, we can still hear you. We can still hear you, Shane.
Oh, you can still hear me? Okay. So hold on.
Someone's helping him out there. When you read that list out, when you look at, I mean, I covered a lot of his fights, particularly those ones with Pacquiao, Mayweather, Cotto, Margarito. I mean, you know, young people following the sport forget just how great some of these guys are. Nailed down Hall of Famer in the first ballot, in my view. An extraordinary resume. Didn't beat everyone there. I remember when he rocked Mayweather in the second round and people thought he was going to do him.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was my next question to Shane. I want to talk to him about what went through his mind there, because he hit Mayweather with the biggest right hand
we've ever seen him get hit with.
That Mayweather ever got hit with. To his boots and back up again, mate.
Yeah.
Trust me on that one. And his legs stiffened up. Mayweather showed that he's got some durability, because Sugar Shane could whack. And I wanted to ask him what was going through his head right then. Did he think that he had the Mayweather there? Because that was an incredible shot, man. What a fighter he was. He really was.
He's coming back to fight. We'll ask him when he comes back in a moment. He's coming to fight at Indigo at the O2. I think it's an exhibition bout. You were pointing out earlier, we were looking at his record. Shane, are you back with us?
I'm back. My daughter called in and messed up the phone.
Okay.
My daughter was like, "What are you doing, Dad?" I'm like, I'm just doing a press conference and stuff, but, you know, she wants to meet up with me.
Shane, I've got to ask you, mate, and I've always wanted to ask you this. You've had a phenomenal career, Hall of Famer, one of the modern-day greats. You really were. And I wanted to ask you this one question. When you nailed Floyd Mayweather with that right hand in the second round there,
yeah,
when his legs stiffened up the way that they did, what was going through your mind right then? Did you think, yeah, I've got him?
I did. I thought maybe, you know what I said? You know what? I got him. A couple more shots. If I catch one more time, it's going to be over with. I was kind of surprised that it was that easy to rock him. And then after that, you know, the third round came, fourth round, fifth round came, and then there was nothing more I can do.
Tell us about the events that you're going to. Is it an exhibition? Is it a full-on fight? You haven't fought since 2016. Tell us about the event and when it is in London.
Yeah, it was supposed to be at the O2 Arena. We were supposed to do an exhibition, and it's going to be, you know, it's an exhibition, but it's like a full-on fight. This guy, he believes that he can box. He's a karate person, so he believes that he can fight. So I want to show him that, no, it's not the same sport. It's the same thing. Boxing, karate is a lot different. So we're going to find out. I'm going to show him.
I understand Victor Ortiz is on the card as well.
Yes.
Because we thought, first of all, you were fighting each other, but it's not against each other.
No, Victor Ortiz is fighting another opponent. I think a UFC guy. His guy, It's going to be pretty tough for the UFC world. And yeah, so it's going to be a pretty good card. It's going to be a fun card.
Shane, I was in Riyadh yesterday for the first press conference with Canelo and Bud Crawford. Is that a fight you like? Does that hark back to the days of you fighting the likes of Cotto and Mayweather and Pacquiao? Is that a big fight in your view? Do you like this matchup?
I like it because of it's a big name, but I'm not sure. I think Canelo might be too big for him. But, we'll see. We'll see if Crawford can handle the size. And because Canelo does have good speed, too. Speed, power, movement. He's very experienced as well. So it's not like Crawford's fighting some guy that's just a regular guy. Like, Canelo's a real good fighter.
What would have happened between you and Crawford? What would have happened between you and Crawford?
I think that my era was tough. So I think that he has that type of mentality and stuff like that. But my whole era, just me and my era, like all of us, we're like different from these fighters today. So I don't know. It depends if he was in the era, if his mentality could be the same. But I don't know.
Shane, I think it's fair to say, though, if Terrence Crawford jumps up these two weight divisions and beats the modern-day great in Canelo Alvarez, he would go down in history as one of the greatest fighters by that achievement, by that accomplishment, wouldn't he?
I think so. I mean, I think that'd be a great accomplishment for him. But, he did go up to 154 and fight Majimov. And did he look that much spectacular with Majimov or not? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? But listen, we urge all fans to get down and see you at the O2. Imagine that. We thought we'd never see Shane Mosley back in the ring and we'd get a chance to see that. I got to tell you, mate, one thing's for sure, I'll be down there.
Yeah, for you, definitely see the hand speed. You go see some power, and you get a chance to see me fry somebody up, so it'll be fun.
What do you make of this kid Conor Ben over here?
I like both of those guys, Conor Ben and Chris Eubank Jr. I like their whole little narrative they had. Conor Ben, he's very strong-minded, and he fights hard. They both fight hard, so I like it. I love it.
The era has changed in your view then. I mean, obviously Canelo is the only one who remains from the era at the top of the sport, but it's a different era now. They're not as active. They don't fight as much. And the matches finally are being made because Turki Al-Sheikh is helping. Yeah. But I don't think
they're getting too much money.
They're getting too much money.
They want to fight. They want to fight. You got to fight for the money. Turkey tell them they got to fight for the money now. Like before, they just run around the ring and get the bag. But you got to fight for the money now. Let's fight. Let's get the fans that they want to see. Let's be honorable about this.
In your view, finally, Shane, who is going to emerge from all these young American stars right now as the number one of this era? Will it be a Gervonta Davis? Will it be Shakur Stevenson? Will it be Richardson Hitchens? Will it be who will it be in your view?
I mean, what I see for Richard Hitchens is I like what I see for him. So, I like that type of fighting. Guys that go out there and put the knuckles on the guys. So Hitchens seems like the pick for me for right now.
Shane, it's an absolute pleasure to see you. We look forward to seeing you in London on the 26th of July. We cannot wait for you to be over here, and it will be packed because people love you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Always a pleasure. The brilliant, the legendary Sugar Shane Mosley. When you look at that resume, I just read a lot of his fights out from 2003 to 2012. It is literally a modern who's who of the very best.
Yeah, old school, man. Anybody that's not seen Sugar Shane Mosley, go and check him out on YouTube. The guy was old school. What a fighter.
Inside, outside fighter, power, footwork, movement, and a great guy.
Beautiful. I was just about to say that. Beautiful
guy.
Human being.
Yeah,
he
he's
really
a beautiful human being. Well, up next, we've got Pat Brown, the cruiserweight, who won in Birmingham tonight, joining us. Obviously, Galal Yafai lost tonight to Rodriguez Jr., but we will catch up with Pat about the atmosphere and his victory next on Fight. Listening and watching Fight Night on talkSPORT on your smart TVs and on your radios around the world, the biggest station for boxing. I'm Gareth Davis. Spencer Oliver, the Omen, as we like to call him, is here, and he's been very ominous tonight, very on form, the ever-ready energy bunny. Galal Yafai wasn't that tonight against Rodriguez Jr, and he lost his interim WBC flyweight title. You made the point early, won Olympic gold in Tokyo. A year later, of course, it was 2021, and in the last 4 years he's turned pro under Eddie Hearn. He was 9-0 going into that tonight, I think, with 7 KOs. People have likened his style to the great Vasyl Lomachenko, one of the people he modelled his style on. Come forward, aggressive, counter-punching, southpaw, but he didn't manage it against Rodriguez tonight.
No, I think it was a calculated gamble that sort of backfired in many ways. Rodriguez is a seasoned campaigner. He's very, very tough. You know, when you box those guys, they're hungry. Forget that he had 6 losses on his record. You look at it and you go, he's been around the block, man, and he's a tough guy. It's always going to be a tough fight. It's a huge gamble that to step up there. It backfired on him a little bit tonight. He can go back, regroup. He's still a young fighter, and sometimes that is the moulding of a fighter, the making of a fighter. And let's see how Yafai comes back. No disgrace in the loss there.
Obviously we were on air, and it's very easy to misread a fight, but it looked like a very torrid fight for him. I will watch it back later on. But a man who did win there tonight, I want to say at cruiserweight, but I think he was in at 209.5 pounds against Ivan Duka. Was Pat Brown, the lovely Pat Brown, who's a fantastic addition to British and world boxing. I think he joins us on the line now. Victory tonight over Ivan Duka. Hello, you handsome young man. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. We were lamenting for Galal Yafai tonight, but you've knocked out another opponent tonight, I take it?
Yeah, he was a really nice guy actually. I think he's a few of the boys are out with him now having a few pints. They're sending me photos.
Do you know what, Pat? That's the problem, isn't it? Like when you get to know your opponent, that's why I don't like this whole, sitting down, having dinner with them and whatnot, because you don't want to know your opponent before you box him, because 99% of them are all nice guys, aren't they?
Yeah, they are definitely, and especially him. He wanted a picture with me and Dave after, and he was waiting around, and he was just soaking in the whole night. He was watching the boxing, and his dream's already been made. Just coming on a Matchroom show and obviously getting paid some good money, and now he'll just do what he needs to do.
You are not going to wait around too long. You've got Lewis Oakford in a couple of weeks' time, an 8-rounder in Manchester. That fight is still on, I believe, yeah? Could you come out of this with no damage?
Yeah, the fight's still on. 5th of July on the Catterall Eubank undercard. I'm just straight back in the gym on Monday. And yeah, just looking forward to getting stuck in there. It's going to be a domestic fight, and I reckon he'll bring it as well.
Are you happy with your performance tonight? Tell us about it. And presumably you want to be very active and move quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I want to be active, but not too active, because you've seen it before. When fighters are too active, they burn the candle out at both ends. So I need to find that happy medium. And I'm having a busy, obviously, couple of months now, and then I'll probably settle down a little bit. And then they're talking about like an away day somewhere, whether that's America or I don't know, but back end of the year.
Pat, talk to us a little bit about your relationship with Dave Allen. I know that you two have got a great relationship there, and that's important when you're in a gym, but you have a lot of fun with that as well, which is very important in such an intense environment as boxing.
Yeah, definitely. The game's ruthless, and you've got to smile your way through with the hard times. And fight week is a fun week for our gym anyway, because we've got Jeamie and Nigel messing around all the time, and even the gym every day we're training like in the morning, and we all just get on. There's no division or anything, and that's the way Nigel and Jeamie like it. We all treat each other like family, and I think that's why you've seen the results tonight, especially with Conor Walker. That knockout was spectacular.
Yeah, it really was. Just quickly, Nigel and Jeamie, are they still running around pulling everyone's trousers down from behind? Because that's one of their massive jokes, in it, and they catch people out on that.
Yeah, they do, definitely. I think they passed the torch on to me, because I got Dave a little bit. Well, I didn't pull his pants down, I actually pulled his pants off, but that was quite funny, to be fair. But yeah, they are always up to mischief and always ready for the laugh.
Tell us about you physically. Obviously, you're reaching maturity as a fighter. Will you stay at cruiserweight? We were talking about saunas earlier and them being illegal and boiling down in weight. But you've got one of the biggest punches out there. Will you stay at cruiser, or will you move to heavy?
I reckon in the future I'll definitely move to heavyweight. I'm only 25, so I'm definitely going to stay at cruiserweight for the next few years. There's some big fights out there, and then just see what the future holds in the heavyweight division. Obviously, like Holyfield, David A, Tony Bellew, like they've all gone and done it towards the back end of the career where they've moved up to heavy.
Usyk hasn't done too bad either, has he?
Yeah, Usyk is he's unbelievable. He is. He's one of my favourite fighters.
When you look at cruiserweight to heavyweight, the cruiserweight success of different fighters, they've created their resumes. You mentioned Hay and Holyfield, Usyk and Bellew and others, but it's at heavyweight where they've secured their futures financially. The time now, the era that you're coming into, is a phenomenal time in heavyweight, in the heavyweight division. The amount of money that's available. You said you don't want to rush too much, but you've got a massive amateur pedigree behind you. You've been to the Olympics. You know the sport inside out. As I say, you're renowned for your punch power as well, which is something that you need as an equaliser at world and elite level. Come on, we don't want you at cruiserweight too long.
Yeah, do you know what? A few people have been mentioning, am I going to go up to heavy? And like when I've been sparring as well, they obviously go on about my punching power and stuff like that. But I'm not, obviously, everyone's in the boxing game for money. And I don't need, obviously everyone needs money, but the sort of life-changing money that you're saying, it doesn't actually get me out of bed, to be fair. It's more nights like tonight, you know, where people go, that kid can fight. He's got some heart, and that's what I want. I want to be known as, you know, a Manchester lad who leaves it all in the ring and makes sure everyone's getting the hard-earned money back at him, really, and they can say, oh, that night was unreal, I want to go to the next one. And also, you know, money I'm getting here, there, and everywhere, I'm going to be investing it. I'm not daft with money, and I don't need loads and loads of money to live a lovely life. It's all about family and close people around you, and I've got a great team.
Yeah, Pat, my advice to you, mate, was establish yourself at cruiserweight. Then you go for, you know, the back end of your career, the tail end of your career, after you've achieved what you want to achieve. Because I know, mate, as a young kid when you're growing up, it's not about the money. The money's secondary because you don't think about that when you're a kid. It's about the titles, you know, the glory, winning the British, Commonwealth, European, world titles. That's what it's all about. That's what the dream's all about. And that's how you feel fulfilled as a fighter when you do retire, when that time comes. So do what you're going to do at cruiserweight, then take that opportunity to get the big money up at heavyweight.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely, I will do. I was actually watching the Hatton documentary again today when I was chilling in the hotel, and when you see Hatton when he was young and hungry, and he was going through and, you know, just whacking people up with the body shots, and the story at the start is so special, and then it always starts to become quite sour, you know, when big money's getting involved as well, and like that's what also comes with the big money fights. A lot of two-faced backstabbing people, and yeah, you got to be on your A game for it.
We're going to do some quick fire questions. 20 years ago since Ricky fought Kostya, just passed, and obviously that was his Everest that night. I mean, we were around him through that amazing career that he had in America as well, and he did earn millions and millions for the Pacquiao and Mayweather fights, these brilliant events that saw 20,000 people, 25,000 people travel to America. One of the things that I really like about what you've said tonight is I want to be known as a Manchester lad who gave it all in the ring, that the memories that you leave for people, that you're prepared to put yourself on the line. I want to ask you a couple of questions about things coming up. Daniel Dubois says he's going to leave it all on the line this time against Alexander Usyk. Do you believe he can become the first British heavyweight to be an undisputed champion winning on these shores?
Yeah, I believe heavyweight boxing, like everyone says, especially Daniel Dubois with the punch power he's got, he can clip Usyk, and yeah, and anything is possible, that sort of weight, and you punch with the venom he does. However, Usyk is, I've always backed him all the time, and everyone always thinks, oh, you're mad, he's too small, this and that, but he is one of the greatest. He really is, and the way he conducts himself as well. I'm a massive Usyk fan, but you got to back your own, you got to back the British fighter, and I hope Dubois can pull it off.
Do you think that Usyk fits into the all-time greats of heavyweight boxing? Where would you put him? Would you put him up there with those big names? You know, you're going back with your Lennox Lewis's, your Mike Tysons and all that. Where will he fit once it's all over? Because we're nearly there now.
He's right in the mixer. Like, what can anyone say about that man's career? He's done everything as an amateur, absolutely everything. And then as a cruiserweight, he did absolutely everything. And people are forgetting, he's boxed like Brady's, and he's been in with some tough kids at cruiserweight. And like, people are just looking at the heavyweight Usyk. He's an absolute animal at cruiserweight as well. And how he boiled down to cruiserweight and the size of him. And then obviously what he's done as a heavyweight, he's give some nights to remember. So there's no way he can't be taught amongst the greatest.
Great stuff, Pat. Thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on victory over Van Duker tonight. Go and join the boys and have a beer yourself with them. I don't even think Pat drinks, to be honest. I remember him saying last time. You don't even drink, do you?
No, I won't be having no drinks, but I've got an early tee off tomorrow, so okay. I'll be smacking that driver bright and early.
Lovely. What do you play off then?
It varies. I'm up between like 14 to 16. It goes up and down.
Oh, that's great stuff.
Sounds like you're a bit of a bandit, mate. If I'm honest, I reckon you're more like a 12.
Okay, there we go. He's one of those, yeah. Congratulations again tonight, and thank you so much for joining us. Pat's in action again against Lewis Oakford at the Manchester Arena on the 5th of July on the undercard of Jack Catterall and Harlem Eubank. Thank you, mate. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I can't even remember what we're doing next. What are we doing next?
Don't ask me, mate. We're talking
don't
boxing.
Ask me. I'm only in the studio.
We're talking boxing, mate. That's all I know.
We are talking Small Hall Promotions, who've joined talkSPORT, M14. Back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. We are about to be joined by live guests Mark Nielsen Boxing, and John Trethaway from TM14 Promotions, who have signed a broadcast agreement with talkSPORT. Now, you've been infusing very strongly about how good the cards are that these guys are putting together. The first card is next Saturday, York Hall, Bethnal Green. Loads of 50-50 fights, and that's what we love. With some of the small hall shows are better than the big shows.
Absolutely, this is the backbone of boxing. You know, this is where the kids develop. This is where they come from to go on to bigger and better things. But this is it. This is the platform. And you know, Mark Nielsen and John Trethaway, TM14, they put on some fantastic shows, 50-50 fights right through the card. And Saturday night, the 28th, is going to be incredible. This is the launch, by the way, of the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel in partnership with these guys. Really looking forward to it.
Well, I think Mark is joining us right now. Mark, are you there?
I am. Yeah, evening, Gareth. Evening,
Good
Spencer.
evening, Mark. How are you? Great to see you. Great union and relationship with talkSPORT. You know, we know you as in the sport a long time, a lifer in the sport, if you like, and great to have that allegiance with talkSPORT now.
Oh yeah, we're absolutely delighted about it. I mean, me and John have been putting on some brilliant shows. We started working together last year. We're both independent promoters in our own right, having put on over 50 shows each. And we started collaborating last year when we saw Frank and Eddie doing the sort of the joint shows, 5v5 in Saudi. And I phoned John, who, I was putting a show on York Hall on a Saturday. John would be doing one the following Saturday. We were using all our different boxes. And I phoned him up and I said, "Hey, John, why don't we do what we're doing? Why don't we do a 10v10? Because you've got all your guys, we've got all our guys." He's like, "Yeah, great. Let's crack on. Let's do it." And we put on this brilliant show at Indigo O2, and it was sold out, brilliant 50-50s, cracking show. It worked so well, and my team and John's team were working together, putting on these sort of brilliant fights, that we just said, why don't we pool our resources? Because you've got all the managers and boxers you work with, and we've got all of ours. And instead of us just sort of competing week by week, let's work together. And we've done that, and then it's just made these shows absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's title fights, there's 50-50s, there's debutants, there's, ex-amateur stars. And, you said on the intro about some of the shows being sort of better than the televised shows. We firmly believe that, we're fight fans first and foremost. And sometimes, without naming names, you see some of these big TV shows and the main event and chief support are cracking fights. But then, some of the undercard are not so inspiring, but ours are top to bottom cracking shows.
Well, I know John's going to join us in a minute, but I need to know what happened in that 10 versus 10 then, because you didn't brag straight away that you won 7-3 or 9-1. So I'm reading something here.
Yeah, you're reading that right. We don't, I'm regretting mentioning that actually, because John does remind me quite frequently. We had a little bit of side bet going on as well.
What was the score then? What was the score?
I won't mention it. I think I can't remember. Wasn't it close, John?
Let's bring John in. Hello, John. Good evening. How are you? Great of you to join us.
Hello, Gareth. Thanks for having us on, mate. Great to see you. Hello, Spence. Hope you're good, mate. I'll jump straight in there. There was double points for some knockouts, and I'm sure it was about 11 points to 3. And I'll just leave it at that, and we'll move on.
But you've reminded him 20 times since, though, probably.
At least.
Well, 20 times a week, probably, but yeah.
Listen, I know these guys very, very well. Great characters, the pair of them, and they both put on brilliant shows. But trust me, John Trethewey winning that one, he's never going to let that go. He's never going to let that go. They need a rematch. They need to do it all over again.
Yeah, we're definitely running it back, that's for sure. But yeah, and it'll be a different result. I'm a winner, and that doesn't sit well with me.
Let me ask you, John, because we've heard from Mark briefly there, but tell us about the event next weekend, next Saturday night at the York Hall. What can we expect?
Yeah, we're proud of this one. It's the first one we've done with you guys. It's an absolute honour for both Mark and I to be with talkSPORT, the machine that we call it, what platform it gives our fighters, the exposure that they can help build their careers, as well as Mark and I, obviously, to help both our brands collaborated and build further as well. But that one next week, we've got 5 what I call real 50-50s on there. All 5 fights, both fighters are undefeated. It's hard to get 50-50 fights on at our level because we don't have the money and the cash that the bigger boys have, for example. So it's usually all built around ticket sales. But sometimes to have 1 or 2 50-50s where they're both undefeated would be great. But to have 5, they're all superb. I mean, top of the bill is actually one of Mark's fighters, Dan Francis, who's already coming off the back of a win at the last show we did at the O2, which has already been nominated for a Fight of the Year contender, and he's going in against Joel Cudero. He's got Anthony Yarden, Tunde Ajayi in the corner. We expect that to be a war as well, and equally just like the last fight Dan was in. We've got Sonny Hardy. He's managed and trained by our friend Kevin Mitchell, we all know, trains in the Matchroom gym, chief sparring partner of Joe Cordina. He's fighting another undefeated fighter, so I think Sonny's 8-0 or 7, and his opponent's 4-0. We got a couple
Alison
of heavyweights,
Suchi.
one out of Yeah, that's it. Ellison, he's 4-0. We got a couple of heavyweights, one out of Peacock, Dorian Krasmarut, he's 4-0, and he's fighting a highly decorated amateurs, 2-0. Some of these fights haven't even got titles on as well. There's a light heavyweight one, Mark Williams, 4-0 against the 6-0 lad, Doru Mogos. And then we got another one, which is a title. There's 3 belts on the line on the night. Alfie Clegg is undefeated after 11 wins, and he's fighting someone from Namibia who's undefeated, who's going to come and win to try and win the Commonwealth silver, and he's 9-0. So those 5 fights, the tickets that have gone out for it are great. I don't want to tempt fate too much because let's see what happens on fight week when Mark and I have to collect money. That's always quite fun. But we expect it to be busy in there. We've got Spence on the comms as well, which is great. So we're going to have a good night.
Yeah, the African fighter you mentioned, Jonas Erastus, I think it is, isn't it? What I love about cards like this is that they delight the crowd. They need to be televised. It's brilliant that they are literally televised on talkSPORT now as this smart TV platform. But guys, the word I would use is they're all hungry fighters.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone is coming to win. They're undefeated fighters. There's titles on the line for some of them not. But they're all hungry. They're all seeing this as, being on talkSPORT is not just great for us, it's great for the boxers. It's more eyeballs on them. They're looking at this as a stepping stone to go on to bigger and better fights for them. So people are, it's great being on a Your Call show, but if there's no broadcast platform, people aren't seeing them. So this is great for the boxers. It's great for the talkSPORT viewers for sure. It's great for us as promoters, but great for the boxers, but ultimately great for the fight fans, because these are great fights. And John and I, as I said earlier, are fight fans, and we're sat at ringside watching these 50-50 fights. There's some mouth-watering fights in there.
Mark, first and foremost, I'm a fight fan as well, and there's nothing better than me going back to the York Hall and watching these shows, because I absolutely love that, because I know I know what sort of shows you guys put on, those 50-50 fights, and these kids fighting. Like every one of those fighters that you mentioned there, those five fights with all fighters undefeated going into that one. Every one of those fighters, it's like their world title fight, and they leave it all in the ring. There's something magical about the York Hall. It brings out something different in the fighters, and I can't wait until next Saturday, mate, because you guys have put on a real barn burner there, not just in one fight but through the card.
Yeah, we're over the moon. It's a great lineup, a great card to have our launch event on talkSPORT. And like you said, York Hall is like a cauldron, isn't it? When you're in the ring, with that balcony all around it, feels like they're right on your shoulders, so the boxers love it. They love fighting in that sort of arena. And as John touched on, the ticket sales have been brilliant so far, and so we know it's going to be packed. And when that's full, it's going to be hot, it's going to be sweaty, it's going to be loud, it's going to be brilliant.
Mark Nielsen of Nielsen Boxing, John Trethaway of TM14 Promotions. Gentlemen, good luck with the inaugural event, and welcome to the talkSPORT family. Thanks for joining us tonight. Cannot wait to see that next weekend.
Guys.
Thank you, gents.
Cheers, guys.
You're listening and watching Fight Night on talkSPORT. In the upcoming section after this, we are going to talk about Richardson Hitchens, Eddie Hearn, the fallout when fighters leave promoters, and promoters want to have a little moan about it. Next.
Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong. My, Liverpool are keeping busy this transfer window. But as Alex Crook says...
I don't think they're finished there, Liverpool. Big whispers yesterday about their interest in Mark Gay at Crystal Palace, and they definitely want to bring in another forward as well. So the champions, well, they're not messing about.
Elsewhere, the countdown is almost over. Live on talkSPORT tonight, the Lions are in Dublin for their warm-up match against Argentina. And here's what we can expect from the South Americans.
They're fifth in the world. In the last year, they've beaten the likes of New Zealand, Australia, handsomely as well. They beat Australia 67 points. They just lost Ireland in the autumn 22-19. This is going to be a tough game, for a team that haven't played together. They've been together for a couple of weeks. They're playing a world-class outfit.
The rest of the Tour Down Under is also live on talkSPORT this summer, and according to Eddie Jones, Australia really need this.
The rugby league's done really well in Australia recently, and Aussie Rules, the domestic sport, is probably one of the most well-run competitions in the world, and they've got a huge following. But rugby's about international sport, and the series like the Lions will captivate the Australian sporting community, and you'll see the game being very heavily followed and patronated.
You're spoilt for choice tonight because Chelsea's second Club World Cup match against Flamengo is live on talkSPORT 2. We had Torre Andre Flo join us earlier. He was asked what he's made of his former club's strategy of signing young players with sell-on value.
If they are successful, they will be called genius, all of them. But yes, I think it will also take a little bit of time. But that time is now coming. But also we've seen that Chelsea are getting better and better.
And today has been another scorcher, so will Royal Ascot ever loosen their dress code for those in attendance?
I'm sure they're considering it, because I have heard of people, think of the cameramen who are running around, and they have to be turned out in top hat and tails as well. I mean, it is tough work.
And head to talksport.com to find out who has tipped West Ham for relegation next season.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. This is the final hour. I'm Gareth Davis. Spencer, the Omen Oliver, is alongside me. Still to come, we speak to BKB CEO, Bare Knuckle, that is, CEO Greg Bloom, ahead of live bare knuckle action on the talkSPORT boxing YouTube channel from 1 a.m. Tonight. That's from, where is it? It's Tennessee, and there's some great fights on that card. Plus we talk Deontay Wilder ahead of his comeback next weekend, which could lead to an Anthony Joshua fight. And also, we're going to talk about loyalty to promoters by boxers. All that and more coming up in the last hour. So, Spencer Oliver, I'm going to turn this on you first of all. Matchroom Boxing boss Eddie Hearn hit out this week at the entourage surrounding world champion Richardson Hitchens after the fighter declared himself a free agent just moments after defending his IBF super lightweight title in New York last weekend. And brilliant he was, by the way. Hitchens made the announcement in the ring, which is what hurt Eddie, following the 8th round stoppage of George Kambosos Jr., who looked overmatched in the bout, I think, drawing a sharp response from Hearn, who has promoted the American for the past 2 years. Let's just have a little listen to Eddie and a watch of Eddie, and then I'll get your reaction.
I did feel disrespected because it's not him. It's just dogs around him. I mean, there is no loyalty in boxing. You've got to look after yourself. But when someone has come in, when you were on the floor, and I remember when I first met Richardson Hitchens, I mean, the door of his car was falling off. And to be honest, I've spent a lot of money and invested in a young man that I really respect and admire. And I've boxed him at Madison Square Garden. I've headlined him in Orlando when we really didn't sell any tickets and we lost a lot of money. I kept with it.